Good evening, this is Tina. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make your project support for multiple languages, and if you use a particular locale, and it also support for locale specific feature. Okay, and I started with a brand new project, because if I continue adding that Spring Validation XML, probably you get confused what happened, what kind of necessary things for adding for support for internationalization. So I started with a clean copy, but the project now is running, and it can actually run to see the only page. Okay, let me show you what I have done so far. I just in the POM, you just have one dependency, which is Spring Web MVC, and then in the Web XML file, I configured for the dispatch servlet, and here is a configuration for the web application context. And in the user form.jsp, I just have a single page and have a form, okay, which is HTML form. Here we don't care about the HTML Spring form, okay, because we only concern about those hard-coded text on the page. In Spring MVC config, I think you should be very familiar with those. You have a view resolver, you have the component scan and annotation driven, and in the user controller, I just have one method, which is when I make a call to slash or slash add, it's gonna go to the user form. That's it. So now let's get into our internationalization and the localization. Okay, for internationalization, which means your project provided kind of infrastructure which support for multiple languages. Localization means you have locale specific features. Suppose now you are in China, your website should be all Chinese. Now suppose now in Vietnam or in Nepal or in Ethiopia, you should have the language which is match the locale, the user use the locale, right? Okay. But if in the user form.jsp and you have those hard-coded English words there, and it doesn't support for multiple language, if in this case you have to copy paste and make sure this one is Chinese or this one is Vietnamese or Ethiopia, as Ethiopia has a local language and characters. Sorry, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, you got an idea. On your GSP pages, you cannot have any hard-coded text here. And the first step is we won't have any hard-coded text. Instead of, we will read the values need to be here from the properties file. In the bin validation video, actually I showed you how to do that. Okay, so first let's create a properties file. Okay, and here we will create some properties like uniform.title title equals add a new user. Okay, user form.username. Okay, it's gonna be equal. Okay, username like this way. User form.password. It's gonna be password. Okay, like this way. And then next step, we have to change our GSP page using those values instead of hard-coded one. And this is the key to find the value. How to do that? Using a tag. Do you still remember? Tag lib. Using prefix by convention, it's gonna call Spring, because we are gonna using the Spring's tag library. In the Spring tag library, it has a Spring tag, Spring message, Spring HTML escape, Spring URL, and it has all kinds of probably util tag library you need. You can look at online. Okay, this one we're gonna replace using Spring message, and most of the time you will you will change for two values. The first one is code. Code is to find the key. Okay, this is a key in your properties files. This is a key, and you put it on the code. And suppose to be safe, sometimes probably you forgot, you don't find the key. And if you cannot find the key within this Spring message tag, by default it's gonna throw exception. Runtime exception say cannot find the value, cannot find the user form title in the properties file. Then it's gonna throw exception. And if you give text, and this is gonna be default title, default value for the title. Okay, and do the corresponding changes for the add a new user and add a new username, password. Here you have to change it to be dot username. Okay, and here we are using default username, and here we were using password and default password. Okay, add a colon, how about that? And if now you run, you will see the default title, default username, default password. That's what I expected. Okay. Okay, let's run here. Yeah, didn't work. Let me redeploy everything. Okay, and goes back. You will see default title, default username, default password. And suppose for this sign up we didn't change. Okay, you can also change it for the sign up. This one suppose we call sign up, but I won't add a property here. Okay, and here I IntelliJ already tell you it cannot find. See here, when you see, you will see save sign up in the directory or create a property, because cannot find. Anyway, if you cannot find, you will see default password. The reason for now it will see all the values at default is because you didn't tell Spring how to find these properties files. You have to tell Spring we are using the properties file. How to do that? You have to do in the configuration. Bin and the class, which is you can using resource bundle message source. Okay, and give a property which is the base name. If you want to have multiple properties files, then using base names. Base name can only set one property file. Base names, you can see the name is plural. You can set the multiple. Okay, and using comma to separate them. Let's use one base name and value. This is a message, which is your properties file name. Okay, now let's run. You will see a surprise. Okay, I think I choose redeploy, right? I redeploy it, and here go back, refresh. You will see all of them still default. It's really weird, because I was thinking the Spring will automatically find this class. Actually, it's not. You have to give an ID, and the value is called a message source. Otherwise, doesn't work. Really weird. I don't know why. Probably resource bundle message will work, but just now when I do first, I change to be something else, then it work. Okay, and deploy successfully. Now run. Okay, you can see add a new user, username, password, which match our properties files. Add a new user, username, password, and let me change it to another name. See if it works. Okay, ID equals bundle message source. I think it is looking for some particular names. Not every name is working. Okay, run and go back. It cannot find. Okay, and the bundle source name doesn't work. I think the only name works is the message source. You have to use a message source, and if I using message source, it works again. This is not very flexible because we have to remember the ID has to be message source. Yeah, works. Okay, good. So now our infrastructure is here, but so far we only have one properties file, which is used for default locale. And you can, when you using the inspector tool, you can go to where performance or memory application, not application, network. Okay, and let me make a request. Okay, make a request and you click here, and you can see the headers. Let me see if we can find the accept language. Okay, it's too big, it's smaller. Okay, this is the request header. See here, accept language, ENUS, EN. This is by default. The locale is retrieved by using the browser will give you accept language, and the application we are using accept language to give you the locale specific language to show you. Okay, and if you want to, I only know Chinese, so I will show you a demo which is have a Chinese. Okay, to do that, add another properties file, messages. Okay, messchcn.properties file, and we were using exactly the same key, and here we were using Chinese. Let me switch to using Chinese. Add a new user, okay, and username is called 用户名. I'm very confident when I speak Chinese. And the password is 密码. Okay, and the next one is in Spring MVC, it supports 3 ways for the locale change. One is a browser. I already show you. Okay, suppose you are using Chinese the system. Here will be ZHCN. Then it will find the Chinese properties files. But here we cannot. I cannot change the setting, the request header made by the browser. So I cannot do anything here. There's other ways. One is a session locale change. The other one is the cookie locale change. Okay. So in order to using session and cookie locale change, you have to give some parameters and tell now I'm using English, now I'm using Chinese. How to do that? Here in the form, in the top, here I will add one more thing, which is, let me switch to English, okay? Here I will using something called A. Let's using P first, okay? A, okay, now A, href, and here I using language, okay? And Spring MVC's internationalization is Interceptor based, okay? And here the first one is EN, US, okay? English, ENGLISH, correct. And next one, we were using Chinese, LANGUAGE, okay, ZHCN, okay, and Chinese. It's better you also, those are not hard-coded. You should put it in the properties file, okay, but I don't want to do now. Next one, you have to tell Spring how to recognize those parameters. You have to tell Spring this is for the locale change, okay? And how to do that? You have to configure for the interceptor, MVC interceptors, okay, bin, and class is suppose we are using session locale resolver, okay? And then you have a property, which is a default locale. You can say default locale, and value is EN/US. Okay. Property, and this one is the locale attribute name or what? No, this one is not. Session. This one is not. This one is not. Sorry, I made a mistake. And this one is for some interceptor. Locale change interceptor. This one. Okay. This is for interceptor. And here you will have a property, which is a parameter name, and the value. The value is the one you use in the GSP, which is this one. Suppose you're using language here, then you have to set for the interceptor to recognize this language parameter. That's what I'm using for. If here using LANG, then you have to change it here to using LANG. Okay. This is for locale change, and it will know this one. The value for this one is for looking for the locale. And next one is you have to tell which locale you actually using. Okay, you are using session or you are using cookie. Session locale resolver, and you can also specify for a default locale. And suppose here the default locale is English US. Let me think about. I think everything is done, and probably it won't work. Okay, redeploy. Redeploy, and clear, and it goes back to the browser. We make a call, and here you can see English and Chinese. When I click English here, oh my god, here to say cannot change HTTP except header use a different locale resolution. This is really weird, because we have a session locale resolver here. Why it doesn't recognize? The problem is very similar to this message source. Spring is looking for a particular ID. What's the ID should be here? Locale resolver, and you have to change this one to be lowercase locale resolver. That's really weird to me, but you have to do that. Otherwise, it cannot find that you have a session locale resolver here. And then go back, and then go back, and I will go to the home page. Okay, home page, and click English. Yeah, and click Chinese. Okay, this is not what I expected. Here is kind of like your message is garbled, right? And how to solve the problem? You have to make sure first your user form GSP here is using character UTF-8, because by default when we pass the values over the internet, it's gonna using ASCII. But for the Chinese, is not a part of the ASCII. You have to using the broader character set. UTF-8 contains most of the words used in the word. Okay, and here we are sure our GSP file is UTF-8 and the file itself is UTF-8. And another thing, you have to make sure your properties file, okay, this properties file here is also UTF-8 here. But here now is Windows 12.52. It doesn't recognize the Chinese words. And how to do that? You go to your file, go to your settings, and here have something. Let me see. Okay, I found it before, which is here. You go to the editor. Go to editor. You go to file encoding, and then change this one to be UTF-8. This one is for your properties files. You change this one to be UTF-8 and apply, and OK. Okay. Next one, let's go back check. Your your file now is UTF-8. Oh, this is different from last time I did. Then I have to change to Chinese again. Okay, and change this one to be what? To be 用户名 username, and this one is 密码. Okay, now it's done. Make sure all of them are UTF-8. Okay, and then go redeploy. Hope everything works, because it's different from the behavior I did 1 hour ago. Okay, redeploy it, and then let's go and access the first page and go to Chinese. Still doesn't work. This, okay, doesn't work. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete this one. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one and create a new properties files. Delete anyway. I'm gonna create a new properties file. Okay, messages chcn.properties. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy one of them. Okay. And let me change here. Okay, and I'm gonna redeploy everything. Make sure start from clean copy, just wondering. Okay, good, and it goes back. Let me clear the data, and goes to, this is home page, and this is still doesn't work. Oh my god, this is different from when I was testing. Let me check one more time. Okay, sorry guys. File encoding. How about I translate native to ASCII? Okay, click this one. Then let me create one more time. This one is UTF-8. This one is UTF-8. Let me create one more time. Okay, sorry guys. Delete. Okay, delete anyway. And create one more time. Message chcn.properties. Okay. Let me restart the server. I tested it before I actually recorded this video, but seems some configuration which is different from my previous project. Okay, Chinese. Okay, no, Chinese. English, Chinese. It didn't recognize. Did I have a? Yes, I have title here. Oh, you know why? The name here is not messages. It should be messages. Okay, refactor, rename, messages, chcn, refactor. Okay, message and messages. Okay, let me redeploy again. Restart server. If not, I will clear the target folder, then restart again. Because everything is UTF-8, it is supposed to work. Okay, Chinese. Perfect. Oh my god, I was worried it won't go, it's not gonna work. So it might be the problem that it's still taking the older resources. I think if at the beginning I clear the cache, clear the target folder, restart the server, should work. Let me make these two also be customized. Okay, so this one is I have to switch to Chinese, and okay, and this one is a password 密码. Okay, and then let me redeploy again. go back here. You can see those are Chinese, and when I switch back, it's gonna be English. But if I make this one is Chinese, right? When you switch to Chinese for the remaining course, it will always using Chinese for this browser. But when I close the browser and restart here, and it's gonna be English again, because we are using session locale resolver. We are using session here. We are using session locale resolver. But if you don't want to use session locale resolver, you can also try to using bin, which is class is cookie. Okay, you can also using cookie locale resolver, and in the property it can have something called the maximum age. You can define it's 1 day, 2 day, 1 week for the default locale. Okay, so that's it for this locale resolver and for the internationalization and the localization. Let me leave it here and make a comment, so you can choose whatever you want. Okay, so before we finish today's video, let me summarize what we did so far. In order to support for different locale, you first make sure your application actually support for different language. And what we did, the first step is instead of all the hard-coded value here, we all change using Spring message, and which is looking for the properties, looking for the value in the properties file using Spring message code. And you have a message.properties files at the beginning. Once you have message.properties files, you have to configure to tell Spring look for this message property file. How to do that? We're using resource bundle message source, and you give a base name which is messages, and make sure for this resource bundle message source, make sure your ID is a message source, otherwise it won't work. Okay, after this step is done, you can deploy and see if everything works, and after everything works, then you can provide the different locale languages. Okay, what the next step I did is I add a message zhcn properties files. Make sure this file here is UTF-8. Okay, otherwise it's gonna be garbled. And if you're using UTF-8 and it still doesn't work, you can go to the Maven, clean. It will remove all the files from a target, then restart your server. Sometimes it might happen. It happened to me before. It happened to me just now, right? And then once you have the properties file ready, then you have to tell how to switch for different locale. And how to switch in the GSP, you're using the anchor tag, and you have a question mark, which is using language to switch between different languages. And this language, this word is special. It must to match the parameter name in the locale interceptor, which is here. You have interceptor and you have a locale change interceptor. This parameter name must match what you used inside the page to switch the locale, because Spring MVC's internationalization is built on top of Interceptor. Okay, next one, you can choose using session locale or you can choose using cookie locale. And that's it for the internationalization and the localization. And I'm gonna upload another video which is doing everything using Java config. There's no changes in the code. The only difference is the XML files. Okay, so see you, and if you are interested in Java config, you can take a look at my next video. Bye bye.